Hello indie game fans, we have a little bit of a breather this week, but there are some really interesting titles to watch out for, so let me show you what's up in this edition of Indie Gaming this week. Let's begin with Kraken Academy, a title with some of the most beautiful hand-drawn art and animation that I have seen, as shown off in this trailer, set in a spooky high school where everything is not as it seems. It's yet another time loop mystery, where you're working with the resident Kraken in order to uncover who the traitor is, looking to be a little creepy but cute at the same time, and is worth a look.
It's 1976, and the future has arrived. But here's the skinny. We at Cronus need you. Cronus was formed after a dome-like structure was discovered 5 years ago. Was it from our ancient past? Was it made by aliens? Does it run on perfectly harmless nuclear power? We need to know, and humanity is waiting for you to help unlock its secrets.
If you're a fan of classic CRPGs, do check out Encased RPG this week, launching out of early access after about 2 years. If you enjoyed the classic Fallout games or titles like Under Rail or Wasteland, then you would probably be into this, set in an alternative 1970s, where you're exploring a mysterious structure known as the Dome, which popped up in a remote desert. The retro-futuristic aesthetic is neat and would not be out of place alongside most other post-apocalyptic fiction, with a decent number of customization options and replayability as well. I checked this out at launch but have not gotten back in since then, but reviews appear to be fairly positive, so do give it a go. This one's for pixel art fans, since the Rewinder does look absolutely amazing, being a point-and-click adventure game based on Chinese mythology. You play as the Rewinder, a medium of sorts that's able to communicate with spirits, as well as to explore and alter memories, all with a wonderfully cohesive theme, look, and music. I do hope that the puzzles are good and the story is compelling, so it's on my watch list as well.
It's the year 2020. Everyone on Earth is stuck inside, eyes glued to their screens. With our world as it is, some people choose to escape to another world entirely. Some are discovering who they truly are. Me? I'm a hacker.
I was very surprised to see Terrain of Magical Expertise pop up when looking for games that were launching this week, since it has been in development for quite a bit, having been kickstarted in 2017, and is actually based on a series of Flash animations from 2011. It's a turn-based RPG that certainly looks to have inspiration from Mega Man Battle Network, where you play as a white hat hacker in an MMO known as Tome. While I don't particularly love the art style, I do think that it works and is in line with the inspiration, looking to have a take on the action turn-based combat that is worth a play. If you're down for action games, a no-brainer pick of the week is Ultra Age, one that looks to have amazing action and combat, but we'll have to see how it fares on the other fronts. You play as a sword-wielding hero, cutting a path through your enemies, exploring the planet, uncovering a grand conspiracy, and ultimately saving the world. So all fairly standard, so let's see on the execution. Combat, however, does look flashy and intense, where I do wonder how much variety there is in combos and abilities. Do note that it will only be on PS4 and Switch at launch and coming to PC at a later date, but something of note for sure.
Did you miss me?
Bigger games of the week begins with BloodRayne Betrayal Fresh Bites, a remastered version of an action platformer from 2011 that's from a storied franchise. I've not played the original, but I'm loving what I see here with the art and animation, looking to be another action-packed title worth a play.
I'll find your damn castle.
What the hell is that sound?
How about you shut up and let me do my job?
Cretans! Can I not count on you to dispatch a few useless troops?
What are a bunch of ravens doing down here? This could turn out to be a pretty good day.
Yes, tonight. Years of work finally coming to fruition.
This ends now.
We're just getting started.
Once upon a time, there were two devoted sisters named Even and Odd. Cruelly separated by an evil queen and the roll of a dice.
I'm coming!
Together with this little fella, Even was determined to rescue her beloved sister.
I do always feel a little bit uneasy when talking about EA originals, since they are, after all, being funded and published by one of the largest gaming companies in the world, but Lost in Random does look like a neat action-adventure entry. The grimdark, gothic setting is the forte of developer Zoink Games, who you might know from games like Zombie Vikings and Flipping Death, where a world centered around the randomness of dice is very intriguing indeed. However, what you might not know is that Zoink Games have actually formed somewhat of a AAA company in merging with Image and Form, the SteamWorld people, and employing a whole bunch of people under the Thunderful Group, which is a listed company in Sweden, which definitely makes them not so indie.
Ooh, cards contain new attacks, abilities, and more. All of which come in handy during dice battle.
Ready, Dicey?
Even uses her slingshot to attack deadly foes. This can knock off energy cubes used to feed her strange companion Dicey. And once fully charged, Even can roll Dicey and freeze time itself? Let's see how she uses it. Oh, impressive. Well done, Even. Nice. Ooh, that was a good one. Even's quest will take her across all 6 realms of random. Even must roll the dice and play the odds. But just a chance at saving her sister.
Random rules. Blon may she reign.
Dicey, wait!
My child, you're safe now.
Smaller Games of the Week begins with Blon, an adorable looking pixel art runner title that looks pretty cute, having some RPG and combat elements in addition to pure running and jumping, making this of interest. The next title is for fighting game fans since the excellently named Combo Babies is a 2D fighter with all the technical features like rollback netcode that is essential for games like this, with some interesting character designs, and comes to us from a solo developer as well. I just mentioned Dream Cycle in my Gamescom coverage, and here we are already with the early access release of this first-person action-adventure game. It comes to us from the creator of the Lara Croft character, so certainly an industry veteran, forming a new team for this project that looks pretty good. This developer wants to craft some form of infinite adventure, so it will be an iterative process, where the launch version should have, I quote, a multitude of adventures across one location, with each adventure taking 10 to 30 minutes.
We thought they were buried forever, never to see the light of day. But we were wrong.
A 1 to 4 player co-op game of interest is FOREWARNED, having you play as archaeologists delving into Egyptian ruins, certainly looking like Phasmophobia but with a different theme, so let's see how it does. If you're into Zelda-style action-adventure games, Hindsight 2020, Wrath of the Raakshasa may be of interest, a title that plays upon the BioWare good and evil morality system, where your actions, whether they be ruthless in killing your enemies or merciful in sparing their lives, will transform the town and world, where NPCs will treat you differently and has 10 different endings, so it's something a little different in the space.
So, you're a knight with a gun.
Lots of guns.
Knights and Guns is a vertical shoot-'em-up in line with games like Super Pang and The Bug Butcher, where you can only fire upwards and looks to have arcade roots, but I love the art and theme, set in a medieval fantasy world but with guns, looking pretty neat, but will be Switch exclusive at launch. One of the best looking games of this week is Loading Story, an adventure game about the video game concept of loading, where you play as a software program exploring this cyberpunk inspired town, being a free entry, so do give it a go. a game that might have potential is Nearly Dead, a real-time open-world zombie survival sandbox title in line with games like Zelda, so let's see if they manage to nail the execution. The developer of Placebo Love did reach out to me, where I found this adventure game to have quite the interesting, if creepy setup. You play as a man who is trying to find a soulmate, who somehow manages to find two doppelgangers that look exactly alike but live separate, if similar lives, having a little bit of a creep factor and seems intriguing.
Since I've seen my family. It's already quite late, so I have to hurry.
Who the hell are you and where have you taken her?
I won't tell you until you do something.
Another title of interest to horror game fans is Psych, a first-person horror game where you are, supposedly, a murderer and have just recently been released from the asylum, having to find out what happened on the day of the accident, all while something or someone seems to be following you. But it might just be all in your head, looking like it's quite the trip that's for fans of the genre.
Where am I? Hello? Sam, wait! Someone's left the door open.
Alex, please help me.
London, New Year's Eve 1999. While everyone else is getting ready to party, the Metropolitan Police are working overtime. Me? Let's just say I'm waiting for some fireworks of my own.
One of the more flippant first-person shooters in recent memory is RICO from 2019, where RICO London is the sequel that sports a similar look but in a different location, where if the first game is anything to go by, should be worth a play.
To me to bring down the whole lot of them in the only way I know how. Kicking doors and shooting bad guys.
I love action roguelites, so any half-decent looking game tends to end up on this channel, but the title of interest this week is Road Shift, an intense sci-fi entry with some great looking action, but otherwise may be a little generic, but is something of interest to me. Another free game to check out this week is Shrine Within, an adventure game where you explore a mysterious world that has been overrun by spirits, certainly having that Undertale vibe, but maybe something different. But since it's free, do check it out. Finally, I've been pretty selective with ports in recent weeks, but the title of interest this week is the co-op platformer Struggling, where you and a friend play as this mutated blob of flesh, having to work together to get to the end of the level, getting PlayStation and Xbox versions this week. Let's kick off the top 5 with Fist Forged in Shadow Torch, a fantastic looking Metroidvania title that would have been much higher on my list had it not been a PlayStation exclusive at launch. It tells the tale of an oppressed people under an authoritarian regime, where you play as a former soldier taking up his arm once again when his friend gets arrested. I've been banging the drum about this game for a little bit since I do love this genre, but the multiple modes of the mechanical arm looks like the most interesting part, combined with fantastic 3D art, and you got my attention.
So you're standing in the shadows of Johnson Vendetti, huh?
It ain't so bad. It's just that I guess folks think they know who I am, where I should be going.
Have you considered becoming someone else entirely?
Someone else entirely. I've decided to create the most elaborate stage persona the world has ever seen.
Okay. Will you be down for dinner? We're having enchiladas.
The boy you loved may already be gone.
Oh boy, here we go with The Artful Escape, one of the trippiest games out there and looks insanely psychedelic. Unsurprisingly, it is being published by Annapurna, who is known for funding these type of games, Sayonara Wild Hearts for example, where the publisher is certainly using their reach and context to get a star-studded voice cast like the recently released 12 Minutes, perhaps making it not so indie. It's an adventure game crossed with a runner, where you play as a musician living in the shadow of his legendary uncle, who decided to create one of the most outrageous on-stage personas, where it seems like you're entering his mindscape and the wonderful fantasy worlds within. Gorgeous looking game for sure, which makes it of interest. Webbed did make my list of indie games to look forward to this month, where this pixel art platformer starring a little spider simply looks wonderful. Honestly, I have no problems with spiders since they eat other bugs, but perhaps that's because I live in a country where we don't get that many gigantic or poisonous ones, but the main character here sure is cute, with a web weaving and swinging mechanic that feels great, at least based on the demo. Some fascinating contraptions and mechanics shown off in the trailer as well, including gliding with a leaf or a giant mechanical ant, making this world worth exploring. Developer Orange Pixel is famous for their pixel art, but have generally stuck to smaller, arcadey type experiences, but their latest entry is Residual, a pixel art survival crafting game that's kind of like Terraria. Since we last talked about this, there's gotten a publisher in Apogee Entertainment, which has an interesting backstory of its own, but that's a story for another time, and there appears to be some momentum for this game. You crash land on an alien planet, having to scavenge for resources, build shelter, harvest food, and so on, all while uncovering an ancient alien secret, building sci-fi tools like teleporters, and to ultimately repair your ship and to get off the planet. Like most survival sandboxes, planets are procedurally generated, so there is plenty of variety, although the one factor that stood out to me is that it's a non-violent survival experience with no traditional combat, so colour me intrigued. The biggest indie game of the week has to be Dice Legacy, a survival base builder where you roll and assign dice in building your settlement, defending against enemies and to survive the winter. I love Euro-style board games, so this is right up my alley, combined with a decent look and the awesome Mobius strip-like infinite ring world, and you got my attention. I do wonder how much replayability there is, or if the early game portions will be repetitive, but a thoroughly positive reception all around based on previews and demos, so it should turn out great, taking the #1 spot. For more survival or city builder titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.